Welcome to the Health Channel, All Health All the Time. I'm Olga Villaverde, coming to you from the Baptist Health South Florida studios. While the holidays are about togetherness, the holidays can also be triggers for those working through just about anything from temporary stress, anxiety, depression, or even the loss of a loved one. Joining us to talk about this today is Nicole Rodriguez and Martin Lopez, both psychotherapists with care and counseling at Baptist Health South Florida. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I think it's important to talk about this because, again, we do think of the holidays and, it's about the giving and the gifts and the children waiting for Santa and, of course, Hanukkah. We have just so many reasons to be blessed. But we also can't forget those that that could be going through a trying time right now.
Right.
Like I said, the loss of a loved one, anxiety, depression. It's a tough time. It's a happy time, but it's a tough time too, isn't it, Nicole?
It is. It definitely is. And it's something that, sometimes I see more patients in during the holidays because I like how you said the forgotten ones.
The forgotten ones, yes.
To be
we
the
do forget
forgotten
them,
ones.
and we
it
shouldn't.
is a season where everyone is happy and excited and you want to see the kids. But for so many people, it's a time of sadness.
And it's a lot of people, Martin. We're not just talking like a small group. It's a lot of people out there that are going through something that maybe we don't understand, but we have to remember that they are. And that's why we need to give, because we're so blessed. And I truly believe in that. Why is it that so many people are so stressed during this time of year, Martin?
There's a couple of things that come into play. One of them is that a lot is expected out of individuals.
This is true.
So there's a lot of expectations. There's a lot of perfectionism. We want to be able to be there for those that need us. We need shopping. We need to set up everything. We need to set up the dinners. So all this causes a lot of stress. On top of that, then comes the fact that a lot of individuals are alone. We have a high percentage of individuals that are single. The greatest percentage of individuals that are alone actually happen to be individuals over 65. So we have individuals that don't have family members to be with. So that's an added stressor because it causes them to feel sad, it causes them to feel depressed. So all these things start to pile up one on top of one another.
And we all definitely have stress. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I have it, you have it. You out there probably are going through a lot right now with the list of things to do. And like Martin said, everything has to be perfect. I think a lot of people handle stress differently. Some people can manage it a little bit more than others. Is that true, Nicole?
Yes, yeah. You have some people that are great at managing stress, but then you have others that aren't very well. And there's a lot going on in the holidays. You have family coming over. You have all the shopping to do. Being out in traffic during this time is horrendous.
Oh, my goodness.
So, how you handle stress is really important during this time.
Yeah, I was making a left turn the other day, and I'm not going to show y'all what a gentleman did to me, but I'm just going to let you imagine the hand signal he gave me, and I was just like, Merry Christmas. I just thought, my gosh, you take a deep breath and calm. Holiday blues, we hear that word a lot. Can you explain what that means to us, Martin?
Yeah, holiday blues, or as we also refer to like seasonal affective disorder, it's different from depression, but it has some of the same symptoms that long-term depression could have, but it is caused mostly by the stressors and the situation, the context of the holidays.
And we have some examples. Do you want to, before I so the examples chime in?
Also, it's a time, some people don't understand what exactly that means. And it's, a time when they feel sad, when they feel lonely, when they feel stressed. That's what can go into the holiday blues.
And these are some examples. There's fatigue, tension, frustration, loneliness, sadness, a sense of loss. And Martin, it's probably not just one. It could be a couple of those things as well. Maybe sometimes for some, all of it.
Yes. And I some of these come together. For example, like fatigue and tension, the more tense you're feeling, the more anxious that you're feeling, then that really tires individuals out. Like we're saying, having to go out and shop, on top of that, having to set up everything, having family come over. But that brings us stressors because sometimes there's conflict between family members. So we're on top of that having to deal with that. We're having to deal with emotions we might not have experienced in a while. Emotions start to surface that have not been present for quite some time.
And then add to that, Nicole, maybe someone who is going through all the things that Martin just said of trying to get everything in order, and there could be a diagnosis that has just shocked the family, or a loss of life, which is so difficult any time of year.
Yes.
But especially now.
Yeah, the tragedies of life don't stop because of the holidays. They still happen. You know, you still get people who get diagnosed with something, like you said, or go through a loss right before the holidays or during, in the middle of the holidays, and that can be very difficult for families.
In fact, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, I was reading here, says over half of Americans experience the holiday blues. Half. So what does that say about how we handle these holidays? I think we need to like chill a little bit, and they're a little bit too exaggerated.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
No. We expect perfection, and we've turned. Obviously, we all have heard and discussed the fact that we've turned the holidays into sort of into a consumerist event, and this really removes from some of the just relax and enjoy your family members, enjoy yourself. Actually, a lot of us have time off, but it is the time when we least have vacation. So you have this whole time off, but you're actually more stressed than when you were at work. You're almost happy to go back to work. You know, you're like, okay, Christmas is done.
Thank goodness.
It's finally, the family's gone, everything. You know,
and how long it lasts. It used to be like it used to be when I was growing up, right after Thanksgiving. Now it's right after Halloween that we start seeing everything go up, and I'm just like, my gosh, we haven't even gotten through Halloween yet. This is crazy. I do want to remind our viewers, if you're feeling some of that tension, some of that stress, and you'd like to give us a call and you want some advice, we do have a phone number. You can call us in to the Health Channel. It's a toll-free number, 855-796-4475. Nicole and Martine are here to answer any of your concerns, or maybe you have some great tips for us that we would love to hear as well. Hey, it's a give or take here, right? Okay. So we've been through the signs, so why not go through some tips? Making some small changes to your holiday perspective can make a big difference. Don't worry. Be happy.
Yep.
I just thought I'd add that. But it's, you know, it's a lot easier just to say, don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Easier said than done, right, Nicole?
It's a whole lot easier said than done. And it's one of those things that I try not to say very often because it isn't easy to not worry.
Right.
That's, you know, we all do that. We all worry.
Someone says, don't worry to me, and I go, really?
Yeah.
Like, really? That's the best you could do? Don't worry? And I'm like, really? I'm worried. Another one that's really good on that list is be realistic. That one's a big one, Martin.
Yeah. Be realistic on what you can do for your family members, or what you can expect for your family members, on what gifts you can buy. Do not put too much stress on yourself. Like it says there, on being a hero, having to, you know, we know that we have much better memories of the time we spent together rather than of the great gifts that we've got.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we can concentrate, and it's hard. You know, it's a lot easier said than done, as we've discussed. You can be like, oh, don't buy this for your kids, but you know, you see it everywhere, and your kids ask you for this. But if you can try to maybe put a little less stress on yourself, you know, and be more realistic about what you can get your kids and your family members, that can go a long way.
Especially the stress that's going to come in January when you have to pay the bill.
Right.
That's just another one that's just going to hit you over the head.
Right. I often tell my patients that, you know, you're always going to have people that may criticize. You always have those family members that are going to say something. But if you remember the meaning of the holidays and you make it about that and you take away some of that pressure, it can be a time of less stress.
Absolutely. I think the don't be a superhero is a big one. Huge, especially for moms who try to be the superwoman every day. Sometimes I have to take my cape off and say, relax. Volunteer. I think, you know, we forget that it's a part of giving and giving back.
Right. And, you know, for people who are suffering with depression and anxiety, it's one that can really help them, because when you're volunteering, when you're helping to give back, it puts your life into perspective. Right. So that's one that I love doing with my patients, is telling them, go out, volunteer, do something.
Or it's as easy as if you know someone's alone or they've been through something. Well, you know, there's a song that says in Spanish, ven a mi casa esta Navidad. It's such a beautiful song. Come to my home on Christmas Eve. And they're so grateful. It's just one more plate. That's all it is.
I have this one patient that she just lost her husband, and she told me that this Christmas what she's doing, she's just opening up her home. She posted an invitation on Facebook, and it's just saying to everyone who doesn't have a place to be, come to my house, bring a plate, and we'll spend it together. And that's just what she's doing to help her get through the holidays.
That's fantastic. And I have a friend of mine who unfortunately is going through a divorce, and I said, well, I expect you at my home on Christmas Eve, even if I have to give up some of my pork for you. No problem. Practice self-care. What does that mean?
Practice self-care. Another one that's a lot easier said than done. basically it's taking care of yourself, making sure that you're not spending the entire holiday season shopping and worrying and doing things for other individuals, but taking time to spend maybe time with family. That is self-care. So self-care involves both taking time for yourself to exercise, maybe do some meditation, have some fun, but a big part of self-care turns out to be when you're actually doing something, volunteering, that really makes you feel much better about yourself. Interacting, positive interactions, not interactions that bring you stress, but positive interactions with other human beings are also a big part of self-care.
Right, and it's something I think you also impose on the children as well. I mean, I really don't care how old they are, but I think that lesson is so important. We're getting a group of girls who dance, and we're going to the Palace Nursing Home on the 23rd. It's not the ideal day, I know, and some of the girls were like, 23rd, you know, but I said, wait till you see their faces after you dance for them for 30 minutes.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
And they have to do it, I tell them, because you need to give back. And I think the children have to do that too, don't they?
Yes, it's a lesson that they'll be learning now as they grow up, and that, you know, the holidays isn't just about what are the presents that I'm going to get, but giving back and doing something like that, like going to the palace where there's a lot of older people that may not have families that visit them. That's going to be a huge impact for them.
Absolutely. I tell them it could be your mother there one day.
Right.
Seriously. And they're like, I'm mommy. I'm like, no. And maybe one day in 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is I live, I'll see some students coming in to dance for me.
Yeah.
There you go. Great
All
stuff.
right.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. The holiday blues are temporary, hopefully, but what happens when tough times aren't seasonal? Really difficult times. Stay with us to know the difference as we get into what you can do and how you can be supportive to those around you. You're watching the Health Channel, All Health All the Time on South Florida PBS. If you have a question for us, not for me, of course, for our experts, please call us using the toll-free number 855-796-4475. Once again, that's 855-796-4475. We'd love to hear from you. You can also visit our website, allhealthtv.com. You can watch it 24/7, live stream of the Health Channel, and watch videos from previous episodes. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
C stands for courage, collaboration, compassion, and cutting edge. With the most advanced radiation treatments, including proton therapy. At Miami Cancer Institute, C also stands for cure. World-class cancer care right here at home. Learn more at miamicancerinstitute.com.
You have heard about breast cancer, but do you know BRCA? BRCA stands for Breast Cancer Susceptibility Gene. Everyone has BRCA genes, but some women inherit BRCA genes that have a mutation or a change. Women with this genetic change have a greater chance of developing breast and ovarian cancer than other women. About 50 out of 100 women with a BRCA1 or BRCA2 genetic change will get breast cancer by the age of 70. CDC offers a confidential web tool called Know BRCA that women can use to learn their risk of having a BRCA gene mutation. Learning your risk for a BRCA gene mutation allows you and your doctor to make important decisions for your health. This may include genetic counseling and testing, enhanced screening, and other methods to reduce your risk of ever developing breast or ovarian cancer. Enter your family history, learn your risk, talk to your doctor. Visit knowbrca.org to find out more.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
Because you said rude things about my work, I started to question my own voice.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of your negative comments online, I've almost quit doing the one thing that makes me happiest in life.
Because you shared something about me that was private, I felt embarrassed.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included, and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Because of you sharing your story with me, I feel comfortable sharing my own.
Because you were there when I was coming out, you helped me regain my confidence.
I'm still here today because of you.
You have heard about breast cancer, but do you know BRCA? BRCA stands for Breast Cancer Susceptibility Gene. Everyone has BRCA genes, but some women inherit BRCA genes that have a mutation or a change. Women with this genetic change have a greater chance of developing breast and ovarian cancer than other women. About 50 out of 100 women with a BRCA1 or BRCA2 genetic change will get breast cancer by the age of 70. CDC offers a confidential web tool called Know BRCA that women can use to learn their risk of having a BRCA gene mutation.
Learning your risk for a BRCA gene mutation allows you and your doctor to make important decisions for your health. This may include genetic counseling and testing, enhanced screening, and other methods to reduce your risk of ever developing breast or ovarian cancer.
Enter your family history, learn your risk, talk to your doctor. Visit knowbrca.org to find out more.
Welcome back to the Health Channel, All Health All the Time. I'm Olga Villaverde, and with us is Nicole Rodriguez and Martin Lopez, both psychotherapists with care and counseling at Baptist Health South Florida. If you have any questions for our experts today, please call us using the toll-free number 855-796-4475. We would love to hear from you. So far we've been talking about the holiday blues and stress. The holidays can be especially tough for someone managing chronic conditions like anxiety or even depression or even the loss of a loved one. So Nicole and Martin, I'm going to pose this to both of you. Holidays triggering conditions like these because?
Well, I mean, if you've lost someone, then you have all those old memories
of
of the times that you spent with them, and also just remembering of those times that you no longer have with them. You know, if it's depression, anxiety, whatever it is that caused the depression and anxiety, the holidays tend to trigger those things because it's a reminder of, you know, either I don't have the family member, I'm going through a divorce, like you said, with your friend, and it's a time where you're supposed to be with family, but that's not always the case.
And conditions, of course, can be worse when it's just a few months ago, and we know of a family from Columbus who lost their son. And I've been praying for them every single night, knowing what these holidays will be like. How does one support Martin? Because that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's so tough.
We talk about trying to be there for them without telling them, obviously, oh, I know what you're going through or anything of the sort, but just offering support. In the case, sometimes, you mentioned a little while ago about telling somebody you're coming to Christmas.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. Yes, sometimes that's necessary.
Sometimes it is. Yeah. I'm going to grab my car, pick you up, grab you, and get you in the car, and you're coming to my house. Punto y final.
Yeah. Don't be afraid.
Right.
Don't be afraid to...
They might appreciate it.
Yeah, don't be afraid. You don't read it, but don't be afraid to grab to... Somebody might be too depressed to be able to accept or to even go out on their own. So don't be afraid to go and pick somebody up and bring them over or show up to their house with a plate of food. Anything that you can in order to show support.
And say you're not alone, right?
Say you're not alone. And don't tell them you're not supposed to be feeling this. What we don't want individuals to do is to hold in. Oh, I just feel better. No, holding down anxiety or depression, in particular depression, will usually worsen the depression.
That's right. You got to be careful with what you say because it can only just ignite the situation even more.
Right, and I don't think it's that family members don't care, because I get a lot of patients that tell me, you know, they don't understand me, they don't care. And I think it's just, it makes them uncomfortable. They don't know how to act, how to respond, so they say things like that, like, you know, just get over it, you know, move on. It happened, you know, a long time ago. It's time to, you know, be happy.
Don't say that.
Not the best thing to say.
Don't say that. I've heard that, and I'm like, oh, don't say that. Right. Everybody gets over it in their own time, in their own way.
Right.
And one has to respect that. Travel can be really so stressful, especially in the airport at MIA, with the crowds and the planes, you can see and weather, and if it was canceled, are you going to get there on time? Any tips on people out there who are getting right now, maybe they're watching the show saying, I'm packing right now.
I mean, these are just going to be the travel tips that you would usually have at any moment, but in particularly now. So for example, get there in time or well ahead of time. Plan ahead, pack everything ahead of time. Give yourself some time to get into the airport, and if you need to sit somewhere to relax, to eat when you get there. Just your basic travel tips, except double everything. So take a double dose of whatever you would usually do to travel, double dose it right now. Yeah.
And be aware that if Mother Nature steps in, there is nothing you can do. I mean, there's some things that are out of our hands that we just got to say, oh my gosh. I mean, I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah. I also tell my patients, you know yourself. So with some of my patients, I'm preparing for the holidays months before. So if I have a patient that is... Yes.
You do that months before?
Yes.
Oh
So if I have a patient that is severely anxious, you probably don't want to get on a plane, go to an airport. So know yourself and plan for that. You know, plan a stay at home, you know, holiday versus going out and having to face the crowds. You know what would work best for you so that you can also enjoy that time.
We always leave for the holidays every year, and this is the first year we as a family, my girls and I and my husband are staying. I am so relieved. I'm like, I can't believe this. This is the best. Like, I'm thinking, what am I gonna do, right? And it's the first time I said, we're staying. And it was like a big load, like, whew.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always have to be this huge production for the holiday. Sometimes just something small and nice at home is, you know, a beautiful thing.
All right. I want to remind our viewers, don't forget, if you'd like to share a story of what you're going through, or if you have some stories to share of the stress and anxiety, or if you have some questions for our experts, there's our toll-free number, 855-796-4475. I think the biggest stressor also is money. Money is a big one. Whether you have it or not, or you spent too much. Any tips there?
Yeah, one of them is not to feel shame, okay? We feel shame when we think that we can't buy other individuals enough, or when other individuals in our family are giving us these great gifts, and then we can't give them the same amount of gifts. So be realistic, plan ahead, save, but do not overdo it, because you might then put it all in a credit card and then you're gonna suffer for it afterwards. So sometimes you can just do something for them, you know, so you can bake something, you can make something, you can take them on a nice trip. There's so many things that you can do for a family member and for a friend that don't involve spending a lot of money. But most importantly, be true to yourself, be true to your situation, and have expectations that fit your life, not somebody else's life.
We also, we talked a little bit about, you know, if you're dealing with a chronic condition, or you've been diagnosed with something, or you're maybe suffering from anxiety and depression. I hear these stories, which I think are so sad, about suicide rates go up during the holidays. Right. And it's just so troubling to hear. Is this true?
It is. You know, sadly, it is true. And it goes back to some of the things that we've been talking about. The holidays for some people are, you know, a great thing. They're that time with family and loved ones. But when someone is going through, you know, either chronic illness or they've lost someone, they don't have someone in their life, they feel like they're alone. You know, suicide becomes an option for them, and it's something that they think about, and they think, well, this is my only way out.
Martin?
Yeah. Definitely depression and anxiety go up during the holidays. Yes. And that can lead some individuals to complete suicide. The most important thing that we want to think thereof is helping that individual maintain a sense of hope and maintain a sense that things can get better. It is when we lose hope, when we think that our lives can get better, and when we feel that we're a burden into other individuals. So it's important as family members to let other individuals know you're not a burden. You know, that is probably, you know, the sense of losing hope and feeling like a burden to other individuals are probably the two biggest signs that you should be looking for, and things that you can help as family and friends.
And in just a few minutes, we're going to be speaking to a very courageous woman, a mom, who lost her son just about a year or so ago to suicide. And she's going to share her story, and God bless her for coming here, because it's going to be very tough, but she wants to create awareness and inspire others in terms of moving forward and hopefully finding that hope. So we look forward to meeting her and seeing her in just a few moments. I also want to share a story of hope and recovery from 3 suicide survivors. So let's watch their story.
Suicide doesn't stand alone. It doesn't just happen as the result of nothing out of nowhere. It's the result of something.
I was a mess before I was diagnosed. I was sick, and my thoughts were so scattered and so psychotic at that point. I was very afraid because I didn't know where I was. I did not know what was going to happen to me.
I was a popular student. I was one that was always smiling, always laughing. If you saw me in a hallway, you would think that's the last person in the world to have depression.
I was in a very self-destructive mode. I was drinking more alcohol, I was taking painkillers, I was suicidal.
When I had these suicidal thoughts of not wanting to be here, I didn't know how to talk to anyone because I figured I was the only one who had those thoughts and emotions. And if I told someone I'm having these thoughts of not wanting to be here, I just figured that the automatic reaction would be I have to go to a psych ward, I have to go to a mental hospital. I knew that 9 stories, it was a miracle that I was alive.
There's a lot of things that happen in your life that you can't choose. You know, there's losses, there's abuse, there's traumas. The one thing that can never be taken away from you is your ability to choose how to respond.
I firmly believe that life turns around when you take ownership of your problems.
I didn't know that there were other people going through the same type of issues, the same type of problems, that there would ever be anyone else that would have suicidal thoughts.
Instead of somebody saying, you need to get help, when I knew I needed help and when I asked for the help, I really believe that's when my life started to turn around.
I wish I did speak up about my emotions, about my feelings, because I could have heard someone else say, well, I go through those struggles as well.
So 3 different stories, all in all with the same message, different challenges, but I liked what the young lady said. We need to choose how to respond. I think that's important, isn't it, Nicole?
Right, it's very important. You know, like they were saying, you know, a lot of them were saying that they felt alone. They felt like, you know, they were the only ones that had these thoughts and they're not alone. And, you know, it's something that, you know, the more we talk about this, the more we raise awareness about this, the more hopefully we can prevent this from happening.
And Martin, when you hear someone that says, I want to be alone, I know you said, you know, maybe grab them and tell them to come over, but it's tough when they really want to be alone. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. So we usually do what we would call here sort of motivation, helping them motivate themselves, trying to empower them. So sometimes just letting them know I'm here for you, giving them a call. So not putting too much pressure on them, but giving them a call and saying, hey, how are you doing? You know, I'm here for you. Then the next day, hey, how are you doing? I'm here for you. On the other hand, and this is important, if you do feel that somebody is in danger to themselves, you can do what we call a safety check, okay? If you're trying to get a hold of a family member or of a friend and they're not picking up the phone and you really think that they could hurt themselves, then it's better safe than sorry. You call 911 and you ask them to do a safety check on that person. They would go and they'll check on that person's safety.
Really?
I know that it sounds, oh, that person's gonna be so mad at me, they're gonna hate me.
But that's great to
Well,
do.
yeah, they might be mad at you, maybe they weren't, it wasn't close, but if you do prevent it, that person from hurting themselves, it's definitely worth any of the backlash that you could potentially receive from that person.
And I was unaware of that. You just call 911 and you say you want to have a safety check if possible on an individual.
A safety check on a person, yes.
That's good notes.
Very important. Everybody needs to be aware of that, and we need to not be afraid of taking on that responsibility. It is our responsibility for our other fellow brothers and sisters in this world, and if we have to do a safety check, even if you think, because everybody's gonna think, oh, they're gonna be so mad at me, hey,
it could be the difference between...
Right,
Yeah.
and they'll get over it. I think at the end of the day, most of us want to know that we're not alone and that someone cares. So when something like that happens, yeah, there may be that initial anger, but then it's that reminder of, wow, that person cared enough to do this.
Very
Absolutely.
true. Very
Great
true.
information. Thank you, Martin. Stay with us, because when we come back, we're going to meet a very special mom who's going to share her loss and her incredible journey of hope. So stay tuned for that. You're watching the Health Channel, all health all the time on South Florida PBS. If you have a question, please call us using the toll-free number right there, 855-796-4475. You can also visit our website, allhealthtv.com, where you can watch a 24/7 live stream of the Health Channel and watch videos from previous episodes. We'll be right back.
Cancer. We don't want to think about it, but I had to. Because you see, I was traveling, I was enjoying life, I was working. It was too long since my last PAP. When I was finally tested, we thought I might have cervical cancer. After worrying, no cancer. I was lucky. Women, please get a Pap test to check for cervical cancer and get the inside knowledge about gynecologic cancers for you and the people who care about you.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your boss, your boss's boss, you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back to the Health Channel, All Health All the Time. I'm Olga Villaverde, and with us is Nicole Rodriguez and Martin Lopez, both psychotherapists with care and counseling at Baptist Health South Florida. And we're also joined by a very special woman, a mom, Josie Galasso, and she is also a patient of Nicole's. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for
having me. I really do
me.
appreciate it. Before we talk about your story, I just want to remind our viewers that there is our toll-free number, 855-796-4475, if they'd like to ask a question to the experts, or maybe even to Josie as well. Again, I do want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful. Would you, well, first I know your son was 29 years old?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Jonathan, yes. He was
What
29 years old. Jonathan had a history of suffering from depression and anxiety, and he was on medication and getting treatment, but then he also moved out of state, and we realized afterwards that he wasn't taking his medication like he should have been. He had a personal situation with a girlfriend, a falling out, and on August 6th, 2017, he took his own life via gunshot wound in his home with my other son there. So it was tough.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Your other son was there?
Yes, Robert. He was there when
Did
it
he hear the
happened.
gunshot?
He did hear the gunshot, and he ran upstairs and found his brother that way.
Did he say there was anything going on that day where he noticed that Jonathan
He
looked...
was, he was upset because his girlfriend and him had a falling out. It seemed like that she had another relationship going on, and he just couldn't take it, I guess. And I had just spoken to him 3 hours before.
And how
the
was
day
he?
before I spoke to him too. And the day before he sounded perfectly fine. Everything was good. He was excited. He was going to start a new career, and he was doing well. And then the next day he finds out about his girlfriend and his best friend from middle school. And I spoke to him a few hours before. He told me he was upset about something but didn't want to talk about it right away. He said, "It's kind of fresh, Mom. I'll tell you when I get home." And I knew that he got home okay. And then 7:30 in the evening, I guess it was, I got the phone call from my ex-husband, who Robert called right afterwards, pretty upset, very, very upset about what had gone down. And yeah.
I can't imagine what you went through.
It's probably the darkest, worst day of my life.
Did he ever talk about things like that? Did you ever think it would lead to that, since he has suffered from depression? Did you fear it would happen one day?
I did.
You did?
I did. I was worried all the time about that, and the ups and downs. He would have good days, bad days. But I worried about it a lot. And we tried our best to get him help. And he was under the care of a physician when he was here in Miami, but then when he moved to Texas, he had just gotten there. He was only there 5 weeks. And yeah.
And Martin and Nicole, we hear this a lot of parents that are getting the right care for the child, doing everything they can, and in some unfortunate, horrific situations, this is the end result.
Right. I think sometimes those are the most difficult ones because, the parents are like, I did everything,
right,
and it still happened. And, in moments like that, there really isn't much one can say or do. I know with Josie, sometimes I just sit and I listen because there isn't very much I can say.
How has your relationship with Nicole helped you, getting the support from Nicole? Do you suggest that for others?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people, we were talking about it before you started, will just, become isolated, ostracized is a good word to use, and they just ostracize themselves from everyone. You seem to have reached out.
Absolutely. If I didn't have Nicole, if I didn't have my online support group, if I didn't have my wonderful husband and family, I don't know where I would be. I go weekly for counseling sessions, and then every few months I go see the psychiatrist to manage medications and things like that. But if I didn't have Nicole to talk to, and it's wonderful because she's a sounding board, there's no judgment, there's nobody there to say anything, or don't worry about it, you'll get over it, things like that. That's like some of the worst things you could say to somebody who's going through this.
Absolutely.
So
Doesn't that make you angry to hear that?
It's upsetting. I know in my heart that they mean well.
I know.
And I know that it's uncomfortable for them, but just imagine how uncomfortable it is for us.
Of course.
So when people say things like, oh, they're in a better place, no, the better place would have been here, healthy and happy.
With me.
With me.
Of course.
And so, there's things that people try to help, but there he is.
There he is. Those are the other two children?
Yeah. That little one now is 6'4". That's Joey, then Jonathan and Robert.
I see the Christmas tree behind.
Mm-hmm.
Tough time right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Sorry.
That's okay. I completely understand. Handsome young man.
I think so. I think so.
And who was he with there?
That's my husband. His stepfather, but that's my husband. And he has been, our relationship has gotten so much better. I mean, we were good before, but he's been my biggest support. So between him and her, and, I get through.
Every day is tough, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. Every day.
I know you're here because you want to also talk to others who may be going through this or have gone through this once or twice. Who knows? I mean, we hear about it. I know a family member as well. You're so courageous and inspirational. What words would you have for someone that's feeling what you're feeling and has heard those things that you've heard? Get over it. They're in a better place.
Yeah. It's difficult, and I'm here also because I wanted to educate people on what to say and not say during the holidays.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest things, even in my support group, that we talk about is say their name. Talk about them, the person that passed away. Tell us stories of things that, your experience with them, and just don't forget them. That's our biggest fear, is that they'll be forgotten. We won't, as mom and dad,
but talk about them. It's okay. You can't remind us that they died. We already know that. So it's okay to talk about them. It's music to our ears to hear somebody else say their name. So,
and when you hear a story about Jonathan.
yeah, it's great, because stories that I may not have known before, or even their experience of him, how they felt about him, what they thought about him, you know, it's all good to talk about them. And during the holidays, try and remember them, honor them whichever way you can, whether it be like just a simple ornament on the tree or a candle with their picture. Thanksgiving was a little tough for me, and my niece just put in my hand the napkin holder with Jonathan's name on it, and that was enough. That was awesome, you know, and he wasn't forgotten. So.
And that's a good message, because maybe some people feel at that moment that it's intruding, or they don't know if they should. But
right.
And I've questioned it too, so you just taught me something about saying something to this family during the holidays, to say their name.
Say their name, talk about them. And if you don't know what to say that. I don't know what to say, you know, just be there with them, and, you know, allow the person who's grieving to grieve their way. Grieving, everybody grieves differently. Everybody responds differently. But if they want to go to the family party, great. If they, at the last minute, decide that they can't because they don't want to, you know, deal with the crowds and stuff, that's okay too. Maybe spend time with them separately. Take them out for lunch, go to the movies, and just quality time with them that way is okay, you know. So there's all different ways, but maybe talk to the person and see what they need, what they want. You know, if they want to come, great. If they don't, that's okay too. But the main thing is, don't forget the person that passed away. Don't feel fearful of bringing it up, that they're going to get upset or they're going to cry. Yeah, we may. It's okay. It's okay. That's part of the grieving process. If you bottle it up, you know, I would never get out of the covers. I would stay in bed all the time. But I get up, I go to work, I get dressed, I try and help other people, and every day I mention Jonathan in one way or the other.
So before I take a quick break, I'm going to say Jonathan's name, and I want you to tell me, for someone like me who does not or never met Jonathan, who was your son?
Jonathan, we used to say he was an old soul. He was an old man when he was born. And very caring, very kind. People who met him always would say that he was such a gentleman to them. He's a good person. He was a very good person. He just had a bad moment, you know. He had a bad time. But, and if you're in that situation, if you're like Jonathan, get the help. Ask, reach out. It's okay to get the help. That's the problem with suicide, is that people don't want to talk about mental illness, don't want to talk about it, you know. And the more we do talk about it, then people with mental illness will feel more free to go out and find help, instead of, you know, keeping it quiet and not talking about it. So,
all right, we're going to take a quick break. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Jonathan's story to me. And coming up, we're going to go through some tips that can help anyone during the holidays, whether it's because they lost a loved one, or they're suffering through a diagnosis, or maybe they have anxiety or depression. We'll be right back. You're watching the Health Channel, all health all the time on South Florida PBS. If you have a question for our experts, please call us using the toll-free number right there, 855-796-4475. And be sure to visit our website, allhealthtv.com. We'll be right back.
Hiney, tushy, badonkadonk, call it what you want, but talk to your doctor, because the American Cancer Society says colon cancer is a leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S. I was diagnosed with colon cancer, but I might have avoided it completely if I just had my keister checked. So get off those juicy doubles and go get your rump shaker screened so you can say you literally saved your own. Can we change padonkadonk?
Every year, millions of Americans are exposed to a contagious virus.
What is this virus? It's stigma.
Stigma promotes an environment of shame,
fear, and silence,
which prevents millions of people from seeking help.
But there's good news.
The National Alliance on Mental Illness believes stigma towards mental illness is 100% curable.
So do yourself and everyone a favor.
Go to curestigma.org and get tested for stigma.
Luis Fonsi, and I'm here at the Miami Health Channel Studios with the Thanks and Giving campaign from St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I hope you can become involved, and I hope you can donate to save lives. To do so, please visit stjude.org. Happy holidays.
At Children's Cancer Research Fund, we believe a world without childhood cancer is possible, but it takes all of us. And whether it's developing a groundbreaking treatment or helping a girl realize her dream, everyone has a role in a child's cancer journey. Just ask researcher Brandon Moriarty about his latest breakthrough, a genetic biomarker treatment.
Children's Cancer Research Fund is a great organization. They provide funding to really dig deep into the research and make more progress. We were able to start a clinical trial that's led by Emily Greengard.
The hope is that these types of therapies are going to be more effective and a lot better tolerated, a lot more safe for the patients.
People ask me how I keep a smile on my face. It's easy when you have so many great people that take care of you and support you.
To find out how you can be a part of a child's cancer journey and a part of the cure, visit childrenscancer.org. A public service message from Children's Cancer Research Fund.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Dear humans, I stand here today not for myself, but for every tail wagger, sloppy kisser, and curtain ninja. I stand here for each one of the nearly 4,100 dogs and cats killed in shelters each day, asking you to join our cause and help us make sure every best friend has a chance to meet one of their own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge and your help, we can save them all.
Welcome back to the Health Channel, All Health All the Time. I'm Olga Villaverde, and with us is Nicole Rodriguez and Martin Lopez, both psychotherapists with care and counseling at Baptist Health South Florida. We're also joined by Josie Galasso, and she is a patient of Nicole's. If you have a question for us, I almost forgot the number, 855-796-4475. Once again, that's 855-796-4475 in case you have a question for Josie or any of our two experts. Josie, I wanted to bring you back in terms of coping throughout the holidays. We have some tips. Before I show the tips to our viewers, how did you and your family cope, and how is your son doing? Because I always believe that we forget about also the loved ones, and he's the one that heard the horrific, what am I saying? Forgive me, the horrific gunshot. How is he doing? And how do you cope?
He's doing remarkably well. He loves his job. He's got a new girlfriend.
Good.
He's got a puppy that he adores, and so he's moving forward with that. He thinks of his brother every day, though, every day. And in his own heart and mind, he has conversations with his brother. And I do the same in the car. Sometimes I'm yelling at Jonathan. Sometimes I'm just, missing him terribly.
And to cope, we were showing some of those tips right there in our graphic. It says starting new traditions. Does that help?
It does. I mean, you can keep some of the old traditions that mean something to you, but then sometimes starting a new tradition helps you to move a little bit more forward, especially if you have other children, because I do have 2 other boys at home, and then I have 2 stepdaughters. So starting a new tradition can help them also heal, something different, something new. Some people like to go away for the holidays instead of being with family. That may help them, or taking a trip or doing something a little bit different. But always keeping the person who passed away with you. They're always with you. They're never really gone. They're always with us.
Martin, your thoughts on the new traditions, changing the way you celebrate, express your needs. These are all things that help move move forward if you can.
Move forward, yeah. So moving forward doesn't mean forgetting.
Right.
All right, so that's one of the
That's
basic
a good
keys.
point.
Yeah, individuals think that when they move forward, they're forgetting. No, you're moving forward. You are creating new traditions, which is good. Okay, it's good to create new traditions, new ways of celebrating. But at the same time, like she said, she still has the old traditions. She and can still do those. But you want to be able to move on with your other children, with your other family members. So that's important.
All right, Nicole, would you like to chime in?
I often encourage my patients to do, what they're comfortable with. So if that is doing a new tradition, then okay, finding what is that new tradition that you guys can do, that you guys can incorporate. If it's for some, they still want to do the old tradition because that reminds them of their lost loved ones, then I encourage them, to do that. So it really is, finding what you're comfortable with and doing that.
I know a lot of people sometimes will light a candle. They'll release some balloons in the person. Have you done anything?
Yeah, on the anniversary of Jonathan's passing, we did the lanterns, the fire lanterns.
Yeah.
And it was actually very healing. And, we invited family and friends to come. And
beautiful.
We were at the park where my other son plays baseball. And we laughed, we had fun, we almost burned down a tree, but that was a new tradition, and it was a good healing moment.
That's
it was
good.
very nice for me to see other people who came
That's
because they
nice.
didn't forget. And you can laugh and grieve almost at the same time. That's the world that we're in. We have one foot in the world here and then one foot in the spirit world kind of thing. But yeah, you can still laugh and have fun even though you're grieving. You don't forget the person.
Right.
But,
I hear you say that a
okay.
lot. Don't forget the person, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's important for other people to realize that it's okay to talk.
We first talked about the stress of the holidays and put everything in perspective and how blessed we are, because we are blessed and we have so much to be grateful for. A couple little tips for you in case you are feeling that stress this holiday. Acknowledge your feelings. There's nothing wrong with that, Martin, right? Reach out, be realistic, set aside differences, stick to a budget. Those are all things that are just...
Yes. And I really want to stress the acknowledge your feelings, don't bottle them up. Express yourself to other individuals, express your needs, express what you're comfortable with. So family members, sometimes they want the best for you, they just don't know it.
Exactly. That other graphic I think is important, Nicole. I wanted to chime in on it too, which was plan ahead, learn to say no, don't abandon healthy habits, take a breather, and seek professional help if needed. I'll never forget Anthony Hopkins, when they interviewed him once, he said the happiest day of his life was when he learned to say no. That's important.
That is very important.
I started saying no a lot after that.
Right, that is. And in terms of the holidays, it's okay to say no to, if it's going to a specific place where you don't want to go there, that it's okay to say, no, I can't do that this time. And being alone, sometimes you need to be alone. So being able to say, listen, you guys go, you guys have fun, I need some time alone, that's okay. You can say that.
Before we end the show, I do want Martin to share a phone number if anyone out there may know of someone who has suicidal thoughts or maybe could be depressed. There is a suicide hotline, which is a great number to always have. Martin, what is it, please?
It's 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-TALK, which TALK is 8255. So again, 1-800-273-8255. And the people that will answer the phone are trained. They'll be able to listen. They're going to be there for you. These individuals know what they're doing. Do not be afraid to call. Okay, very important.
And know that you're not alone. I do also want to end with Josie and her beautiful hair, because it is not coincidence that she has purple and blue.
Yes.
So I want her to explain why. We've got about a minute. Tell me why the beautiful hair.
So the colors for suicide prevention, the ribbon is teal and purple. And I've volunteered with other friends and family with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So when I have the purple and teal hair, people will say, oh, your hair, and then it opens up a conversation.
There you go.
So I can tell them why. And then usually they tell me their story, or how can they help, or how can they participate. And there's walks all over the country. The people there are wonderful and amazing and very, very healing.
Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing Jonathan's story.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin, Mike, Nicole. Always thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching today. If you'd like more information, of course, this is the Health Channel. Be sure to join us next time on the Health Channel, All Health All the Time on South Florida PBS. Follow us on social media. Also, please be sure to visit our website, allhealthtv.com, where you can watch a 24/7 stream of the Health Channel and watch videos of previous episodes. I'm Olga Villaverde. We'll see you next time. And just for Josie, we're going to show Jonathan's picture one more time.